I spent $5,000 on Max Perzon's course within school to teach you how to run and build a school community. And I wanted to give my honest thoughts and feedback on the course. Now, just to start off, this is not an advertisement. This has not been commissioned, and I'm going to be fully transparent about my experience with it. I spent $5,000 on the platform, and currently I have a school community that is generating 1.1K per month. Now, just some context, I run an email and SMS marketing agency, and I already have a big audience built up. And I wanted to build up a school community to monetize that audience. And I felt like the best place for me to go was to somebody who was an expert and had a curriculum set up to really help me figure out the nuanced questions, i.e., how do I tackle pricing for my offers? How do I build out a curriculum and all that good stuff? And I found Max. Now, just from the start, I will say I am very happy with my investment. At the very end, I will talk about whether or not I feel like there was a solid ROI here and who this would generate like a good ROI for. So watch the whole video to increase the view time here. But really what I'm gonna break down is the nitty-gritty of the course offering and why I think it worked really well for me and some things that I think can be improved and are being improved. So let's talk about what Max Perzon's school community and course essentially broke down for me when it came to teaching me how to create my own school community. The first thing is the actual classes are very comprehensive. There's, I would say, about 100 hours worth of, maybe not 100 hours, maybe 50 to 70 hours worth of video content within the school community that breaks down everything from how to come up with an idea for a school community all the way to how to create ads to drive traffic to that school community. One of the things I found really useful in the school community, or rather within the course specifically, is the education around the offer, how to create an offer and how to price your offer for your school community. One thing I found super interesting was that my knee-jerk reaction was to create a school community that focused on selling monthly subscriptions. Really quickly, sorry to interrupt the video. I just wanted to tell you something really cool that we've started doing with Inbox. I've actually created a school community where I teach you anything and everything I know about email and SMS marketing, from really advanced campaign strategies to how to simply set up your Klaviyo account, all the way to building really, really cool automations for the back end of your e-commerce store. Whether you're a business owner trying to learn how to do email marketing or an email marketer trying to learn how to become a better email marketer, there is a link in the description to this school community where I teach you everything I know. Check it out, it's worthwhile. Book a call to have a chat with me to see if you're a right fit for the community, and if you are, I'd love to get you in there. Anyway, sorry for interrupting your video, let's get back to it. But I quickly learned within Max's school, he really encouraged high ticket upfront pricing because of the value equation that people get from a school and the ongoing cost obligation of having a monthly subscription for educational material. For example, he made this great analogy of if you buy a book and read the book, you're not gonna pay to keep having that book every single month. The exact same logic goes for the school community. So I found that super, super useful. The actual functional nitty-gritty details around how to set up a school community is super clear and easy to lay out. And if you just follow the system, you'll have a school community up and running. He also gives you a pretty good breakdown on some of the ad strategies there. I do think there could be a little bit more education in terms of what goes into the ads themselves, or providing scripts around the ads to then put on YouTube, Meta, Facebook, wherever you want, right? I think there could be a bit more education in terms of how to run the ads, but at the end of the day, this is how to run a school community, not how to do ads. So I kind of understand why there's not a massive focus on there. You also get access within the school community to SaaS. Now, for those of you who run an agency or a company, you're probably familiar with Go High Level. And Go High Level is essentially a platform that allows you to create sales funnels, websites, automation sequences to take cold traffic and turn them into paying customers. It allows you to have a CRM, so a built-in customer tracking, customer relationship management tool, track your sales funnel and take people from ads and put them into a landing page that then gets them to book a call, that then gets them to join your school community, assuming you're doing high ticket. And so you actually get access to that SaaS for free with school, which I actually think is pretty insane value, because Go High Level I think is about $200 a month last I recall, and you get it for free as long as you're part of the school community. And it's custom built to cater to the school community. And within the community that they have, within KOURS course, you actually have all the funnels. They've built everything out for you. You can literally just use their stuff that they have. And I found that super impressive. Like, I was really, really happy with having that infrastructure already built out. And it's like, you can't really if you follow it properly, okay? So just to recap, the actual nitty gritty within the actual community, the offer and creation process was really useful to me. The pricing, like how to price your offer, was super useful. How to actually set up your school community, super useful. How to run ads as well. In full transparency, I'm gonna start running ads next week. I found that very useful too. There could have been a little bit more detail in terms of how to script your ads and everything like that. But you do also have the weekly calls, which I'm gonna talk about in a second, to support your ad journey, essentially. And you also get access to like a really good SaaS. One thing that I really like about any kind of community is the ability to actually have access to real people and talk to them, right? And that's what separates people from like a community from a school, or rather a course, sorry. A course is you buy it, you do it yourself. I think a community is a place where you're able to get on calls, have feedback loops, and ask questions and get feedback consistently. And within the school community that Max created, note it's called Course, you get access to people who are specialists within copywriting, sales, ops and delivery, as well as YouTube. And within the community, you get about 6 calls per week, and it's a group call, so you can all join and ask questions. And I was actually pretty surprised in terms of how hands-on people were within these calls. It wasn't just like general advice. Like, I know for like the sales process, it wasn't just like, yeah, you should try this or try that. It was very much like, here's the strategy in the closing framework that we use, here's the document. Or here's what you want to do to change your ads a little bit and how you want to configure things. It's very specific and actually quite useful, and it's good content. The other thing too that I think a lot of communities can kind of is there's too many people in these calls. In this case, there wasn't. So there was enough time for pretty much everybody in the call to actually join and have their questions answered and have a conversation, right? Because if you're in a call and it's only an hour long and you have a question about sales, for example, and there's 20 people in there, there's a low likelihood that you're gonna have your question answered. Fortunately, these calls are not super crowded, and you can get your questions answered, which is really, really nice. And I've used these calls quite a bit. Even just to sit in the call and be in the call is quite useful as well. So the calls are awesome. You also get calls directly with Max, which is cool, in a group cohort. So it's really cool just to like have that time to actually speak and ask questions there. I found that super useful. And really the big thing too is the detail in the calls and the ability to actually have your questions answered, because there's not too many people. On top of that, the community element, people are pretty active in the community. So there's currently, I think at the time we're recording, about 731 members. People are pretty active. Like, you can ask a question and people will answer your questions within about a day, which is really nice. Whether it be from the community managers, the admins, or from just regular community members themselves. Also, there's like a really cool competition that they run every single month that incentivizes engagement. So the more engagement you get, you can win cash prizes, which if you really participate, you can probably offset the cost of being in the school community itself pretty heavily, which is quite nice. And so you can reduce whatever fee, the $5,000 that you pay to become part of the community, and offset it with the prizes that you can win. One thing that's really important though to note within the school community, which I don't think a lot of people pay attention to, is that when you're building a community and monetizing that community, your life is going to be considerably easier if you have an existing audience to play with, right? And I don't think this is talked enough about in just the community building space in general, especially when you're trying to monetize something. For me, I've been able to already generate 1.1K in about 2 weeks of launching my community per month, because I already have a newsletter and I already have a YouTube channel where I can funnel traffic into my school community. I think if I didn't have that traffic right there, my life would be a lot harder. And one thing that I don't think is emphasized enough in the community is the need for top of funnel traffic. I think there's a lot of attention given to how to create your offer, how to price your offer, and all that good stuff. But there needs to be a little bit more attention, I think, given to building a personal brand to then funnel people to your school community. This course and this community is great if you already have an audience. I think if you're starting from scratch, i.e. you have a hobby and you don't have an audience built around it, the process of building a successful school community is going to take a lot longer. And that's not the fault of, this course or the community itself. It's largely just you might not be fully ready to reap all the rewards that you can reap from the curriculum that is being offered, right? There needs to be more, I think, within the community itself and the curriculum, an emphasis on the importance of building an audience, i.e. building an audience on LinkedIn, building an audience on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Now, I will say, there is sections within this curriculum, I want to say curriculum now instead of course, there's sections within the curriculum that sit within the community, that's a better way of saying it, that do speak to YouTube, okay? And they're okay. The good thing is within the community, there is a weekly call with a YouTube specialist, which I think is super important. And I think the team over at Course know that top of funnel is super important. And so they're building out more material that focuses particularly on YouTube, because you really do need to have a source of traffic, whether it be through ads or whether it be through organic, that continuously drives cold traffic to your community as an offer. Otherwise, you're going to be in a much harder place to actually generate revenue from this really initiative. And I really want to reiterate this, right? No matter how good your offer is or how good your educational material is within your school community, you need to have that top of funnel. The YouTube material within Course needs to get dialed in a little bit, and the call does help, but I think there needs to be a little bit more depth in terms of your strategy and also a management of expectations for people around the importance of how necessary that top of funnel actually is, right? Now, there is the benefit of having the organic traffic from within the school platform itself, right? But I don't think that you're going to be ranking in a relatively quick time period to offset the need for a top of funnel strategy, right? For example, you could have an amazing community on school, and if you hit a really nice keyword that nobody else has, you could get organic traffic into your school community, right? For example, they made a post about this in school recently where they were like, we have a ukulele school, or a school that teaches people how to shave donkey hooves, right? Those are so niche that if somebody searches on it, you're most likely going to rank number one for that category. However, for the most part, you will need a supplementary source of traffic to drive people to your landing page from outside of that organic channel, if that makes sense. That's probably the only critique I really have of the overall curriculum itself, is that there needs to be more of a push and focus on how to get organic top of funnel traffic, because they do a pretty good job on the ad side of things, but organic top of funnel needs to be dialed in a little bit more. So my thoughts on ROI, was it worth it? Like I said at the start of the video, I'm very happy with my investment, right? $5,000 and I'm already generating 1.1K per month from it. It makes sense, right? Now, who do I think this would be worthwhile for from an ROI perspective? If you already have an audience somewhere, if you have a newsletter, if you have a Twitter following, a LinkedIn following, an Instagram following, and you want to monetize that audience through the use of a community, this course is for you. If you don't have that community already, I think it's really important to focus on building that audience rather a little bit quicker, or rather earlier, before you invest the money into creating a school community to monetize an audience. Build an audience somewhere. For context, I'm able to generate this 1.1K because I have 11,000 followers on LinkedIn. I get about 10,000 views a month across my 2 YouTube channels. I have 6.7 thousand followers on Twitter, and I have 3.4 thousand subscribers on my newsletter. I'm able to push my offer out to all these people and very quickly generate revenue from them through the use of a community that was built with the education from Max and his team, right? And I probably wouldn't have been able to generate that revenue without Max, but I wouldn't have also been able to generate that revenue without the audience, right? And if I didn't have the audience, right, no matter how good of a school community I created, I still wouldn't be able to generate the revenue that I'm currently generating right now. So I really emphasize this. It's important to focus on building an audience first, or at least having an audience before you start directing traffic to any sort of offer, because you need traffic to direct somewhere, right? And so if you're just starting out and you're like, I want to make money online, I would first really recommend trying to find a niche that you want to build a following around, build that following, and then try and monetize it with a program like Max's. If you already have that audience, if you already have a following, or you already have a plan in place to build that following, then 100% build something like this that Max offers, follow the course, it's well worth it. I think $5,000 makes total sense for what we're trying to build, and you will generate an ROI for sure. It's just a matter of, do you have the audience? Anyway, those are my thoughts. Listen, this video wasn't paid for, just a fully transparent, easy rundown. Now I will say, there's an affiliate link to Max's school community if you want to join it. Click that down below. But if you have any questions, just chuck them down below. I'm happy to answer any and all questions related to my experience, my thoughts. I do recommend this platform. It is worthwhile, or rather, community, it is worthwhile. But yeah, I just make these videos to document my own journey. Anyway, subscribe, smash the like button, check out my school community, link down below, and we'll see you in the next video.